So you've probably heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? It's a cognitive bias in which people with limited competence in an area overestimate their ability in that area. Like if you just started picking up the guitar a week ago and you strummed a few chords and you feel like it's going well, you think that you are like ready to go on a world tour. It's actually part of a greater understanding of social psychology of something called like illusory superiority or the overconfidence bias. Basically when somebody that has a limited knowledge in an area begins to believe that they are an expert on it. So an example that I often use is like a receptionist at a vet clinic. If you've been a receptionist at a vet clinic for like 5 or 10 years, you might begin to develop a basic understanding of animal care or diagnostics, but you aren't able to actually diagnose anything because you're not the expert there. The veterinarian is. You might know a lot of what, but you definitely don't know a lot of why. Have you ever heard somebody say that I know just enough about a field to be a little dangerous? That's what this is. This is actually a problem in a lot of online discourse, and it's kind of the opposite of the Dunning-Kruger effect, where people will overestimate their qualifications and overstate their expertise in a field. So you might come across somebody on the internet that says, I've worked in the veterinary field for 20 years and I think X, Y, or Z thing. That might lead you to believe that they're an expert in veterinary medicine, but they could just be a receptionist at a vet clinic. Likewise, right now, because there's a lot of anger and confusion and grief over the election, we've got folks out there overstating their qualifications or being very vague about exactly what they do. I've seen people weigh in as cybersecurity experts who are basically like an office IT guy, which doesn't mean that you don't know something about cybersecurity, but it does mean that you are not the expert when it comes to voting machines. In the Dunning-Kruger effect, somebody is completely unaware of their limitations. But with illusory superiority, somebody might be aware of their limitations, but believe that what little expertise they have in the field compensates for that, or basically makes them an expert in this situation. That can be dangerous in very high stakes fields like medicine, the law, or elections. Basically, just because you have some knowledge doesn't necessarily mean that you're the expert or the right expert. Somebody that says that they work in banking, but what they are is a banker in a branch, isn't necessarily the person to speak to about your securities portfolio. A real expert will tell you exactly what they know and keep their expertise solely related to their field. They'll tell you what they know and they'll also tell you what they don't know. There's really good examples of this like in published studies, because when it comes to published like peer review studies, they'll tell you what the limitations of the study are. Here is what we studied and here is what we did not study. Here is what we still do not know. A real expert in a field is going to be very clear about why they are an expert, what they know, and what they definitely don't. There's a lot of misinformation out there right now. Please do not fall prey to it. Thank you. Goodbye.